How can a portrait bring about one person's moral decay and eventual downfall? This is the story of Oscar Wilde's The Picture of Dorian Gray, published in 1890. Basil Hallward is a talented artist. He paints a portrait of Dorian Gray, who is a handsome and charming young man. While working on the portrait, Basil becomes infatuated with Dorian's beauty and innocence. He introduces Dorian to an aristocrat named Lord Henry Wotton. Little does Basil know that Lord Henry was about to change everything. Lord Henry is hedonistic. What does that mean, you may ask? It means that he was engaged in the pursuit of pleasure and believes that the most important thing in life is to enjoy oneself. An impressionable young man, Dorian becomes more and more fascinated by Lord Henry's worldview of sensual gratification and indulgence. However, one thing absolutely devastates him: the realization that his own beauty and youth will fade with time. In a moment of despair and desperation, Dorian expresses the desire to remain forever young while the portrait ages in his place. Dorian starts pursuing every desire and commits every act of vice without thinking about any of the consequences. The more acts of immorality he commits, the more increasingly grotesque his portrait grows, reflecting the effects of his corrupted soul. As time goes on, Dorian is awakened by his conscience and becomes increasingly paranoid about the secret of his guilt-bearing portrait being revealed. He decides to destroy the painting in an attempt to free himself from the burden of his moral degradation. In a fit of rage, he stabs the portrait. However, Dorian dies at his own hands, while the portrait returns to its original state of youth and beauty. His body, on the other hand, appears aged and withered, returning to its true form.